Hey everyone, I love reading stories to my cat, and somehow he always seems completely into it. It's become our little routine, and it makes every story even more special. If you enjoy these stories just like my cat do, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Gabriel never expected Sunday dinner in suburban Atlanta to end with a paper plate slipping from his hand while Linda grinned beside her mother's china cabinet. She waved a DNA envelope over the table like a prize from a carnival game. Her brothers leaned forward. Her aunt hid a smile behind a napkin. "Read it," Linda said, laughing before he unfolded the page. Then Gabriel saw the lines stating the toddler he had fed at midnight, rocked through fevers, and called his son was not biologically his. Linda laughed louder. The room stayed silent. Nobody asked why she thought that was funny. What made it unbearable was how Linda had sold the test as a joke all week. She called it one of those silly internet couple days, like ranking drive-thru fries or taking matching photos in a tourist booth. Gabriel resisted because he trusted her and loved the little boy who ran to him every morning yelling, "Daddy, dinosaur." But Linda kept teasing, saying her family would crack up and finally settle the debate about whose eyebrows and stubbornness the toddler had inherited. Sunday dinner, she promised, would be hilarious. Gabriel agreed only to stop the conversation, never imagining she planned to turn trust into a public execution. 3 years earlier, Linda had seemed like the easiest laugh in Georgia. Gabriel met her near Centennial Olympic Park when a food truck's card reader crashed and he accidentally paid for her lemonade along with his tacos. She thanked him by asking whether he believed in fate or bad software. They walked downtown Atlanta for hours, debating if the Ferris wheel was romantic or just expensive motion sickness. Linda made him laugh so hard he snorted sweet tea through his nose. She called it adorable. He called it character assassination. By midnight, they were sharing fried Oreos, trading stories, and acting like the city had arranged itself just to make them bump into each other. Linda came from a big family in Marietta that treated every gathering like a holiday with louder opinions. Her father grilled year-round. Her mother narrated recipes like a sports announcer. Cousins covered every sofa. Uncles argued over football. And someone always brought banana pudding nobody remembered taking home. Gabriel, raised quietly in Decatur by a nurse mother and a grandfather who communicated mostly through nods, found their chaos comforting. Linda loved that he listened before speaking. He loved that she could turn an ordinary grocery run into 5 minutes of stand-up comedy about coupons, avocados, and judgmental cashiers. Back then, the differences felt charming instead of dangerous. When Linda got pregnant less than a year into dating, both of them panicked, laughed, then panicked again. Gabriel was 29, a logistics manager who trusted calendars, color-coded spreadsheets, and exact mileage estimates. Linda worked front desk at a dental office and insisted babies probably slept 18 hours because cartoon stocks always looked rested. They sat in Gabriel's parked Honda outside Piedmont Hospital eating salty fries and making wild promises. He would build the nursery himself. She would stop impulse buying decorative pillows. They would be calmer, kinder, steadier than the adults who had raised them. For one hopeful hour, fear felt almost romantic, like uncertainty softened by shared determination. The baby shower took place in a church hall in Kennesaw where Linda's cousin rented a cotton candy machine for reasons nobody understood. Gabriel spent half the afternoon assembling a crib while 3 older women debated whether his careful reading of instructions made him a promising father or suspicious husband. Linda floated through the room in a blue dress, glowing, bossy, and delighted. After Gabriel lost a cupcake-eating contest to a 7-year-old, she kissed frosting off his cheek while everyone laughed. People took photos, swapped advice, and joked that the baby would inherit Gabriel's patience and Linda's mouth. Looking back, Gabriel only remembered how often her mother studied him quietly. When the toddler arrived screaming on a rainy November night outside Sandy Springs, Gabriel cried first. He did not care that he looked ridiculous in a hospital gown and paper cap. He held Linda's hand, counted her breaths, and sang the chorus of an old Journey song because it was the only thing he could remember. When the nurse finally laid the baby against Linda's chest, Gabriel felt the world shrink into one wrinkled face and one impossible responsibility. He stayed for every bottle, Every diaper disaster, every midnight pacing session, every sleepy sunrise. Linda teased him for comparing newborn burps to car alarms. He still sounded proud when he did. Their life settled into the kind of exhausting rhythm that feels sacred only to the people living it. Gabriel learned to warm bottles one-handed while answering work calls. He mastered stroller folding, cartoon-themed songs, and the exact bounce that stopped nighttime crying. Linda joked he packed diaper bags like disaster relief. On Saturdays, they drove to Grant Park Zoo, split funnel cake at county fairs, or wandered Target pretending not to buy anything until leaving with socks, paper towels, a toy truck, and some lamp Linda claimed would change the room. Friends said Gabriel was built for fatherhood. He believed them because the toddler believed him first. There were sweet moments Gabriel replayed later, like someone searching old footage for missed warnings. Linda asleep against his shoulder during a drive to Savannah, feet on the dashboard despite his fake lectures about basic physics. Linda dancing in their kitchen in Smyrna while spaghetti boiled over and the toddler hammered cabinet doors with a spoon like a tiny drummer. Linda wrapping Gabriel in Christmas lights and announcing he was the ghost of poor decisions. Their life was messy, loud, underfunded, and rarely elegant, but it felt real. Gabriel thought love was exactly that. Ordinary scenes repeated so often they quietly became home before anyone noticed. Trouble arrived softly, not with lipstick on collars or hotel receipts, but with small changes Gabriel could not quite name. Linda guarded her phone. She started staying late at work more often, though co-workers sometimes posted group photos showing she was absent. She became defensive over simple questions. If Gabriel mentioned schedules, she called him controlling. If he offered help, she said he hovered. One Friday in Buckhead, she snapped because he buckled the toddler into the car seat wrong, even though it was the same way she always did it. Later, she apologized with tacos and tears. Gabriel accepted both because doubt felt uglier than denial. The DNA test idea first surfaced after Linda's cousin Brianna brought over boxed wine and gossip on a Thursday night. Brianna announced that modern couples were doing trust challenges now, from ancestry kits to lie detectors, because apparently relationships needed game show energy. Gabriel rolled his eyes and kept stacking blocks with the toddler on the rug. Linda laughed, nudged his knee, and said it would be hilarious to prove once and for all who the boy resembled. Gabriel said nobody was debating except Brianna, who clearly needed a hobby and less internet access. Everyone laughed. Linda laughed hardest. At the time, Gabriel thought that meant the idea was harmless. Linda kept pushing. She joked during breakfast, at Kroger, and while Gabriel bathed the toddler and got soaked by a plastic whale. "Come on," she said, already pulling up a clinic website on her phone. "It'll make a funny story someday." Gabriel said good stories were supposed to happen naturally, not with appointment confirmation emails. Linda pouted, kissed his forehead, called him dramatic, and kept smiling. Eventually he agreed because saying no had become more exhausting than saying yes. They visited a clinic near Roswell, swabbed cheeks under fluorescent lights, and left with Linda grinning like she had arranged a surprise party no one else understood. The days before the results should have felt ordinary, yet Linda moved with a bright, nervous energy that made Gabriel uneasy. She texted constantly and tilted her screen away. Once, while unloading groceries, Gabriel heard her whispering in the backyard, "No, Sunday. Everybody will be there." When he stepped outside, she claimed she was ordering candles for her mother. He almost asked why candles required such secrecy, then swallowed the question. Distrust tasted ugly. Instead, he mowed the lawn, grilled chicken, and let the toddler ride a toy excavator across the patio while Linda filmed and laughed. He mistook performance for happiness because hope can be very convincing. Sunday dinner began exactly like dozens before it. The table in Marietta sagged under fried chicken, collard greens, cornbread, deviled eggs, macaroni and cheese, and 2 different pies because Linda's mother believed dessert should be ready for every possible mood. Gabriel chased the toddler through the living room while cousins shouted over a basketball game. Linda's father handed him a beer and told a story that wandered so far nobody remembered the point. Gabriel even laughed when the toddler dipped a dinner roll into sweet tea and proudly announced he had invented bread soup. For one last normal hour, the house felt like family instead of a stage. Then Linda tapped her spoon against a glass and stood smiling like a bridesmaid about to roast the groom. "One more entertainment item before dessert," she announced. Her mother looked confused, but her brothers smirked as though they knew a show was coming. Linda pulled the envelope from a kitchen drawer. "Gabriel finally agreed to the DNA test," she said, dragging out each word. "I told you all this would be funny." Heat climbed Gabriel's neck. He had assumed the results would arrive privately and be discussed at home, not unveiled between banana pudding and pecan pie like a card trick performed at a child's birthday party. When Gabriel unfolded the paper, he read the sentence 3 times, hoping it would somehow rearrange itself into a mistake. It did not. Linda burst into laughter first, sharp and delighted. One brother slapped the table. Another muttered, "Damn." Brianna almost choked on iced tea. Gabriel looked at the toddler on the rug stacking coasters, completely unaware of the earthquake opening beneath everyone's feet. "Why are you laughing?" Gabriel asked, because stunned people often reach for the smallest possible question. Linda wiped tears from her eyes and said, "Because you should see your face." Her words landed harder than the report itself. Nobody stopped her. Gabriel laid the paper down with the care of someone handling something explosive. "Is it wrong?" he asked. Linda shrugged. "Nope." Her mother whispered her name, but not firmly enough to matter. Gabriel asked the only question left. "Did you know?" Linda's grin flickered, then returned smaller and meaner. "I suspected," she said. "Honestly, I didn't think you'd take the test. This is wild." Something inside Gabriel broke cleanly. He picked up his jacket and instinctively reached for the toddler, but Linda's brother stepped in front of him and said he should leave the kid. That was when shock hardened into a colder kind of understanding. In that instant, Gabriel realized Linda had not been careless. She had planned an audience, controlled the room, and expected him to be too stunned to answer back. The cruelty was organized. He handed the crying toddler to Linda's mother because the boy was confused and frightened by the shouting. Then Gabriel looked directly at Linda and said, very quietly, "You don't get to decide what happens next because you made it public." Even her brothers went still. He walked out into the warm Georgia evening, drove without music through Atlanta traffic, and finally pulled over near a gas station because tears kept blurring the lights into trembling streaks across the windshield. Gabriel spent the night in a cheap hotel near Cumberland Mall staring at water stains on the ceiling and replaying every year with Linda like evidence in a trial. Around midnight, his phone buzzed. Linda had sent 3 messages, one calling him dramatic, one saying they still needed to discuss co-parenting, and one selfie beside a margarita glass captioned, "What a dinner." That picture burned away the last of his confusion. He called his mother in Decatur. She listened without interrupting, then said the sentence that changed everything. "Pain is loud, baby, but paperwork is louder." Gabriel sat up in bed and wrote that down immediately. By Monday morning, Gabriel was in downtown Atlanta meeting Cheryl Bishop, a family attorney so precise she made staplers seem lazy. Cheryl read the DNA report, the texts, and Gabriel's account of the dinner. Then she asked 3 quick questions that shifted the whole situation from heartbreak to legal exposure. Was Gabriel on the birth certificate? Yes. Had he supported the child financially? Constantly. Had Linda ever privately admitted uncertainty before the dinner? Not until then. Cheryl nodded once. "Good," she said. She played for an audience. "We'll play for a judge." Gabriel actually laughed. It was the first thing that felt funny without also feeling cruel. Cheryl moved fast. She filed petitions challenging paternity obligations, requested preservation of all messages, and began building a reimbursement claim tied to proven deception. Gabriel did something Linda never expected. He stopped fighting with her directly. Every text received the same answer: "Please contact my attorney," or no answer at all. He changed passwords, separated accounts, documented purchases, and gathered receipts with a numb focus of a man turning heartbreak into paperwork. At work, his friend Marcus supplied bad cafeteria coffee and worse jokes, including one about Moy deserving a logistics award. Gabriel laughed so hard in the break room, he snorted coffee again. Some embarrassments were easier. Linda did not handle silence well. She sent angry paragraphs, then sad ones, then nostalgic selfies from happier vacations. She accused Gabriel of abandoning her son, though she had publicly declared he was not Gabriel's. She said family matters should stay private, apparently forgetting the audience she had assembled around mashed potatoes. Cheryl's investigator uncovered what Gabriel had avoided looking for. Linda had been seeing a former boyfriend named Trevor for more than a year, including during the likely conception window. Trevor, a part-time trainer from Alpharetta with motivational quotes tattooed on his forearm, had been told Gabriel was simply helping out. The lie was finally collapsing under its own weight. The funniest moment of the collapse came by accident. After learning he might actually be the biological father, Trevor showed up at Linda's townhouse carrying flowers, protein powder, and what he called a mature mindset. Linda's cousin recorded part of the disaster from an upstairs window and leaked it straight into the family group chat. In the video, Trevor tripped over a ride-on fire truck, launched the flowers into a bird bath, and shouted, "I am trying to take responsibility," while Linda yelled that responsibility should have come with a warning label. Gabriel never asked to see the clip, but when Cheryl forwarded it as evidence, even she wrote, "Unfortunate entrance." The hearing in Cobb County arrived 6 weeks later. Linda wore pastel colors and a carefully injured expression, flanked by her mother and both brothers. Gabriel wore a navy suit his grandfather once called serious enough for bad news. Cheryl presented the DNA report, the financial records, the messages, and, most damaging, Linda's own text joking about the dinner reveal beforehand. The judge's face turned glacial by the second page. Linda tried crying. It might have worked better if she had not rolled her eyes while Trevor admitted under oath that Linda told him Gabriel would keep paying either way. The courtroom grew almost painfully silent. Gabriel's revenge was not loud. It was consequence, organized and undeniable. The judge ruled Gabriel was not the biological father, ended future support obligations, and scheduled a related civil determination on reimbursement tied to fraudulent conduct. Linda's landlord, learning the household income picture had changed dramatically, declined to renew her lease. Trevor disappeared once fatherhood stopped sounding inspirational and started requiring forms, bills, and actual consistency. Linda later lost her dental office job after a co-worker testified that she had boasted the Sunday reveal would go viral in the family. Gabriel never gloated. He never raised his voice. Silence, backed by evidence, did the damage for him. The hardest blow fell afterward, when Linda's family had to live without the comfort of being spectators. Her mother called Gabriel crying, apologizing for not stopping the dinner the second it turned cruel. Her father mailed a handwritten letter admitting he had mistaken entertainment for honesty. Even Brianna, patron saint of terrible ideas, confessed she had encouraged a spectacle without considering the child trapped inside it. Linda wanted Gabriel to tell everyone she was not a monster, only scared and overwhelmed. He refused. "I won't lie for you," he said. "Not privately, not publicly, not ever again." For once, nobody had a comeback ready. Still, Gabriel's life did not remain bitter forever, because pain can be heavy while life keeps sneaking in ridiculous moments. He moved into a smaller apartment in Decatur with a balcony facing a parking lot and somehow found peace there. Mark has started hosting Freedom Fridays, which mostly involved wings and terrible movies with titles like Shark Cabin and Lawyer Crocodile. Gabriel adopted an elderly beagle named Otis who snored like faulty machinery and stole socks with military precision. At a neighborhood farmer's market, Otis once dragged Gabriel through a peach display and onto his knees. The laughing vendor handed him a discount, a towel, and eventually her phone number. Her name was Elena, and unlike Linda, she treated kindness like a habit instead of a performance. She taught 8th grade history in Atlanta public schools, preferred bookstores to bars, and found Gabriel's careful nature reassuring rather than boring. Their first real date was in Savannah, where they wandered old squares, shared pralines, and got trapped in a sudden rainstorm beneath a souvenir umbrella covered in ghost facts. Gabriel told her the truth about his past slowly, in manageable pieces. Elena never rushed him. One evening on River Street, she squeezed his hand and said, "Your loyalty was real. Somebody else's dishonesty does not get to rename it." Months later, Gabriel saw Linda outside a courthouse elevator after the reimbursement hearing ended. She looked exhausted, older, and stripped of the bright confidence that had once tilted every room toward her. The judge had approved a repayment plan after reviewing years of documented support and deliberate deception. Linda opened her mouth like she wanted forgiveness, rescue, or at least one last sentimental pause. Gabriel simply adjusted Otis's leash and nodded politely. "You really ruined my life," she said. Gabriel shook his head. "No," he replied. "You turned honesty into entertainment and forgot the lights always come back on." Then the elevator doors closed between them. If Gabriel learned anything, it was that love without respect is just unpaid labor dressed in prettier clothes. Trust is not built through tests, stunts, or humiliation performed for an audience. It grows quietly, survives on honesty, and dies the moment one person treats devotion like weakness. Gabriel still missed the little boy sometimes, and that sadness never became funny, because innocent children always absorb the cost of adult cowardice. But he no longer confused endurance with virtue. He chose boundaries, truth, and people who laughed with him instead of at him. In the end, Linda's worst punishment was simple. Gabriel healed, and she had to remain herself. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.